Good evening, guys. This is Run to Christ Live. Thank you for joining us. Okay, you must have heard it by now. We're in lockdown now in the UK, and I've got to say, I was just outside, and it is eerily quiet. It's like everybody's disappeared. So it seems like people are obeying the orders to stay indoors and be quarantined, but it's more like you're in prison. I don't know if you've seen it earlier, but Boris Johnson addressed the nation and told everybody that this is what's happening. So it seems like for the next 3 weeks we're all to be stuck indoors and not going out until, well, not until, but unless you need food or whatever else. So how you all doing in the chat? I see Badger there, thanks for coming. I see James and Christendom Defender and Vahid M. How's it going? This is crazy, it sure is, Vahid. President D. Chump is watching. That's a good name. Right, so I'm going to show you this Boris Johnson speech and we'll have a wee listen and see what he's saying. Just find the right window, that would help. There we go.
Good evening. The coronavirus is the biggest threat this country has faced for decades, and this country is not alone. All over the world we're seeing the devastating impact of this invisible killer. And so tonight I want to update you on the latest steps we're taking to fight the disease and what you can do to help. And I want to begin by reminding you why the UK has been taking the approach that we have. Without a huge national effort to halt the growth of this virus, there will come a moment when no health service in the world could possibly cope, because there won't be enough ventilators, enough intensive care beds, enough doctors and nurses. And as we've seen elsewhere in other countries that also have fantastic healthcare systems, that is the moment of real danger. To put it simply, if too many people become seriously unwell at one time, the NHS will be unable to handle it, meaning more people are likely to die, not just from coronavirus, but from other illnesses as well. So it's vital to slow the spread of the disease, because that is the way we reduce the number of people needing hospital treatment at any one time, so we can protect the NHS's ability to cope.
You'll notice here the thumbs of power, you know, politicians, they don't point at people because that's rude. So they use their thumbs to, as if they were pointing, and it's called the thumbs of power, yeah. If you go back and watch all your other politicians, you'll see that they do the same. Tony Blair was a good one to use an example for the thumb of power. He used to always use it. But anyway.
And save more lives. And that's why we've been asking people to stay at home during this pandemic. And though huge numbers are complying, and I thank you all, the time has now come for us all to do more. From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home. Because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households. That is why people will only be allowed to leave their home for the following very limited purposes. Shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible.
Okay, so now he's saying you'll only be allowed to go out your house for shopping, and he's got a few other things as well, but the language that they're using, you know, we can only go out because we're allowed, you know, it makes you wonder, and it begs the question, how are they going to exactly enforce that, you know? Are they going to have police walking the streets and checking who's going out their house for legitimate reasons? Because, I don't know, the last time we were told things about the police in the UK was that there was a short on numbers, and he was actually hiring 20,000 more police. So maybe that was not so much a coincidence, I don't know.
One form of exercise a day, for example, a run, walk or cycle, alone or with members of your household.
Okay, so, oh, I coughed. I've got the Wu flu. No, but he's saying now you can go out if you want to exercise. I mean, this is like prison, innit? Surely in prison you get an hour's out time or something, you know, you can go exercise. I mean, what is this? It's like we're in jail.
Any medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person, and travelling to and from work, but only where this is absolutely necessary and cannot be done from home. That's all. These are the only reasons you should leave your home. You should not be meeting friends. If your friends ask you to meet, you should say no.
You should say no. Do you want to come out, hang about? No, Boris told me not to, and I don't want to use up my one chance at getting some exercise, do I? Like, anybody in the UK exercises? Do you know anybody that exercises in the UK? We'll go out daily for that, shall we? Shane's saying in the chat, Aussies have been issued the same shutdown orders. Maybe it's a bit more relaxed here, but it's pretty much the same. Yeah, they seem to be rolling out this kind of idea globally now. I understand that certain places in America it's already happened. It's always sunny in Portland, Oregon says. Portland, Oregon is a ghost town right now. And a forced lockdown is probably right around the corner. Not looking good. No. Well, apparently this is the first day, and already when I was outside my house, somebody actually shouted over to me across the street, like, "Are we in lockdown yet?" And I was like, well, no, it's like, it's tomorrow, I think, officially. You know, so it's crazy. You got people walking around asking, are we on lockdown now? And I had a friend message me. He's just woke up and he's just heard that we're living in martial law now. So he was a bit shocked, to say the least. So let's we'll play the rest of this Boris speech. We'll just get through it here.
Ask you to meet, you should say no.
No.
You should not be meeting family members who do not live in your home. You should not be going shopping except for essentials like food and medicine. And you should do this as little as you can. And use food delivery services where you can.
Well, you know, I would use the delivery services, Boris, but apparently one superstore called Iceland is not allowing anybody that's not a pensioner to order stuff online. So Iceland is kind of out now because I'm not a pensioner. So I have to leave the house. Woohoo. I can go exercise. Maybe that can be my exercise, carrying all the shopping bags home. Well, that's kind of what I normally did anyway. So for me, this lockdown, nothing's really changed. You know, I only ever really go out to get food from the shop. And that's about it. Christendom Defender says, go exercise in the morning. No. I'll stay in bed, thanks.
If you don't follow the rules, the police will have the powers to enforce them, including through fines and dispersing gatherings.
Well, let's just replay that bit. That was rather important. Check it out. Now listen carefully.
Use food delivery services where you can. If you don't follow the rules, the police will have the powers to enforce them, including through fines and dispersing gatherings.
Okay, so the police now have powers to make sure you stay in your house, and they'll fine you. They will fine you. So, how would that work if they fine you? You know, apparently everybody's having financial difficulties at the minute because maybe they're not allowed to go to work or whatever. So, if you're being fined, how are you going to pay the fine? Or how are they going to issue the fine if there's no courts running at the moment? Seems a bit strange to me.
To ensure compliance with the government's instruction to stay at home, we will immediately close all shops selling non-essential goods, including clothing and electronic stores, and other premises, including libraries, playgrounds and outdoor gyms and places of worship, will stop all gatherings of more than 2 people in public, excluding
2 people in public, but did you catch that? Did you catch that? They're banning places of worship. Check it out and play it again.
Close all shops selling non-essential goods, including clothing and electronic stores, and other premises, including libraries, playgrounds and outdoor gyms and places of worship.
It's like he almost put that last in the list of the order of places where he's going to shut down, so that nobody might notice or something. But I wonder what the Muslim community thinks of this, because, you know, they tend to go to church 5 times a day. Well, I say church, the mosque, right? They go there 5 times a day at least to pray. And I guess, I mean, I don't know, they've got prayer mats, haven't they? They can just face Mecca and pray away. But you know how they like going to mosques, so I don't know. But places of worship, how long is it until they start officially banning that sort of thing, like, you know, for good?
Will stop all gatherings of more than 2 people in public, excluding people you live with, and will stop all social events, including weddings, baptisms, and other ceremonies, but excluding funerals.
So funerals are good, but if you want to get baptised, you're going to have to do that in private now. Yeah, and they're shutting down where 2 or more are gathered, yeah. That is a good point. But yeah, it's getting a bit weird, isn't it? What do you think? What do you think in chat? I know Badger says that the Strip in Las Vegas has gone partly dark. And that's got to be odd, right? Because the Vegas Strip is usually lit up and busy like, you know, central London, isn't it? So, is there some drone footage of that? Maybe I've seen some drone footage of other places like, you know, Wuhan. There's some footage of London, but it's not exactly as empty as maybe it is tonight. Because the footage was released yesterday, so not everybody apparently was complying with this order to stay in your house, but it seems like they are tonight, because round where I am in Kent, it seems really quiet, like spooky. No traffic, hardly any, you know. And normally you can hear like background noise from the motorways in the distance and things like that, but there's nothing like that. Anyway, we'll continue listening to good old Boris Johnson. Why is it everybody with the second name Johnson ruins everything, you know? Because you got Ryan Johnson, who ruined Star Wars, and then you got Boris Johnson, who's ruining the UK. Well, that's a bit harsh. But he's certainly making it difficult for you to go about your normal life, isn't he? Play the rest of it.
Parks will remain open for exercise, but gatherings will be dispersed. No Prime Minister wants to enact measures like this. I know the damage that this disruption is doing and will do to people's lives, to their businesses and to their jobs. And that's why we've produced a huge and unprecedented programme of support both for workers and for business. And I can assure you that we will keep these restrictions under constant review. We will look again in 3 weeks and relax them if the evidence shows we are able to. But at present, there are just no easy options. The way ahead is hard, and it is still true that many lives will, sadly, be lost. And yet it is also true that there is a clear way through. Day by day, we are strengthening our amazing NHS with 7,500 former clinicians now coming back to the service. With the time you buy by simply staying at home,
the thumb of power,
we are increasing our stocks of equipment. We are accelerating our search for treatments. We're pioneering work on a vaccine. And we're buying millions of testing kits that will enable us to turn the tide on this invisible killer. I want to thank everyone who is working flat out to beat the virus. Everyone from the supermarket staff to the transport workers to the carers to the nurses and doctors on the front line. But in this fight, we can be in no doubt that each and every one of us is directly enlisted. Each and every one of us is now obliged to join together to halt the spread of this disease, to protect our NHS, and to save many, many thousands of lives. And I know that as they have in the past, so many times, the people of this country will rise to that challenge, and we will come through it stronger than ever. We will beat the coronavirus, and we will beat it together.
Well, that whole speech is like he's preparing for an assault on the Death Star, you know? It's like rallying the troops, you know what I mean? Everybody will be involved. You know? It's like we will defeat it. So what do you guys think in the chat, right? Because there's a whole lot of theories going around about this coronavirus. Things like, the whole thing's a hoax, for example. Like it's just made up and they've kind of staged things here and there. KP Masonry says research event 201. Yeah, I know about that. I think most people do by now. That was going around a couple months ago, and what's his name did a video on that today. What's his name? I can't remember. Nicholson, 1968 or whatever it is. Yeah, he put a bunch of clips together from the Event 201 videos and mixed it with that Spiro guy's video. If you haven't watched that, go watch it. It was pretty decent. If you don't know about Event 201, well, that will give you the information that you need. You know, Bill Gates is involved, and people apparently already have patents for the coronavirus. But things like that, you need to be careful because the coronavirus there's a whole family called the coronavirus. As far as I'm aware, this new one, as they're calling it, my research indicates that if a virus is indeed going around killing people and it's spread around the world, then from the information that I have is that it was made in a lab. We'll go to my Twitter here. Let's just check this. Yep. I've posted about it quite a few times on my Twitter, you know, but I think I'm shadow banned on here, so it never really goes anywhere, you know. Where is it? Yeah, so the whole 5G thing, I mean, that's another theory in it, that 5G's sort of like... There's two theories with the 5G, and I'm not a fan of either of them, and that's why I did the thumbnail, your 5G theory sucks, and it's a play on that whole Ryan Johnson meme about Snoke. You know, if you're a Star Wars fan, you'll know what I'm talking about, but if you're not, well, whatever. So yeah, here's the link. I'm gonna wait for this to open up. This is a scientific study from 2007. If it loads, hurry up and load. So it's actually done by Chinese people. If you look at the names that are on the list, you might be able to correlate that with people that perhaps work at the Wuhan high-level virus laboratory. Can't remember the name of it. But yeah, here we go. It's loaded up now. So this is from 2007, right? Difference in receptor usage between severe acute respiratory syndrome, that's SARS coronavirus, and a SARS-like coronavirus of bat origin. Now, you'll see this going about quite a lot. So you've got SARS-CoV, right? These are all the same family of viruses. And if you read this, I'll put this in the chat. Hold on. Copy. Yeah, I'll put this in the chat, guys, and you can just go read it for yourselves. I'm not going to read it all, but you go read that if you want. I'll give you a little sort of short version of it here. But basically, they had a corona type virus that didn't transmit to humans, So these clever chaps found out a way to transmit this virus to humans and have it hack the human cell, so to speak. And how they did that is paragraph 4. If you want to read paragraph 4 at some point, I'll read some of it now. So in this study, a human immunodeficiency virus, that's HIV-based pseudovirus system, was employed to address these issues. What issues? The fact that the SARS-CoV virus couldn't transmit to humans. So they solved that by genetically altering it with HIV. Okay, and what that allowed the SARS virus to do was to bind to the human cell and then be able to get in there and replicate, and that's what makes you sick. Once the virus replicates, you get sick after that, you know. So what's chat saying? Badger says, given that they have bioweapons, you'd think they'd use a more lethal one rather than this distinctly unimpressive one. It's almost like it's a joke to show how easy we are to control through fear. Well, that's a good point, because yeah, I mean, that's the fear factor that's coming in, isn't it? I mean, the danger though, I see what you're saying about they have more effective bioweapons that could wipe us all out like in one go. But the thing with this is, like, it's a slow burner, and that's what the problem is. When a virus is a slow burner like this, it's hard to contain because, as you know, the virus is contagious while incubating. So that means you're going around not knowing whether you're infected or not, and you're infecting other people, and that's the whole thing about this that makes it dangerous, because it can, as you've seen, spread around the world. That's assuming that it's true, right? I mean, there's people that think none of it's true, that it's just overblown, and it's just a different strain of, like, the flu or something. You know? It's possible, I guess, isn't it? But I think it's more along the lines of, you know, they've been manipulating coronaviruses since 2007, according to this article. I think it was probably an accidental release. Or perhaps, I mean, the other idea is that it could be actual just plain judgment from God on godless nations. I mean, you think about it, right? The UK isn't exactly the, you know, pioneer of Christianity anymore, is it? I mean, if you were just to do a quick search on how many people are Christians now and, like, preaching on the streets, you'd see the reaction that some of the preachers on the street get, you know. I mean, Scotland is where I'm from originally. They ran this whole campaign against religion. I don't know if you've seen it. I can't remember what it was called, but it was like anti-church and anti-Christians, and basically, you know, you have to tolerate everything, and, you know, the LGBT agenda and all this kind of thing. So Scotland is pretty much not what it used to be in terms of Christianity, and England's the same. I've seen preachers get arrested just for reading out some Bible passages. So it's not as if the UK is like this big Christian nation anymore. So perhaps we are being judged, you know, because as a nation we've fallen into apostasy, if you will, because the majority of people used to be Christians here, and now we're not. So that could be a factor. And you look at China, they're a secular communist state. There is a lot of Christians in China, and it's been grown and grown in China, and perhaps this is a good time for Christianity to grow even further in China. But you look at all the other Western nations as well, France, Spain, the USA, right? They were all pretty much Christian nations, whether they were Catholic or what have you. But now they're not. Now there's been a falling away, right? I mean, the Bible predicts a falling away from the faith. Perhaps this is the time that we're living in. So in that sense, the virus could definitely be real. And I understand that there's people that have different theories and whatever, but I'm kind of, shying away from conspiracy theories in that sense. But it's possible, I guess, that it could be, a giant hoax, or maybe it's not as serious as they're saying that it is, and maybe they're just using this as a total advantage to further agendas. I mean, real or not, that's probably what they'll be doing. So I don't know why. I'm coughing again. I've got the woo flu. Nah, nah. It does make me wonder, the fact that I've got a cough at the minute. If I'm outside and I start coughing in front of police officers, are they going to drag me away somewhere and be like, "Hey, you've got the coronavirus. You need to come to the hospital, or you need to get quarantined, or whatever"? Are they going to be doing that soon? Because I don't know. So what do you guys think in the chat? Do you think it's real? Do you think it's judgment? Do you think it's 5G? What do you think? Let me know in the chat and I'll keep an eye on it for your responses. But yeah. Corona. So there's some footage here. So where was it? Oh, let's go to my history, I think. Yeah, London, right? You've got footage here of London. It came out yesterday. The streets aren't as empty as you would think, but for London, this is pretty empty, at night time. I'll go back here because they've got the buildings lit up with the NHS logos and things like that, And I'm just sitting there wondering to myself, okay, so how much are you spending on electricity to run these lights on this building, And it's just like Boris's speech was just such like a wartime speech, you know what I mean? Like we're at war with the Germans again or something. But yeah, so what are people saying in the chat? Christendom Defender says Red Dragon flu shot incoming. Stay strong, Patriots. So like, is that like mandatory vaccine type thing? They could do that, I guess, couldn't they? I mean, they moan, they whinge about, get your annual flu shots and make sure your kids have got all their injections, and it's just that kind of thing where it's expected, kind of, if they were to go, oh well, to solve this sort of thing and to make everybody go back to work, we all need to have a vaccine. I mean, it's totally plausible, isn't it? What else? Pippa says the meek shall inherit the earth. Yeah, that's true. How can you argue with that? Method Marine, the Israelites were led into the persecution by the Egyptians due to not following the Lord. What makes us modern day mankind any different? God let them be taken away by the Pharaoh and by the Babylonians. That's funny you say that, Method Marine, because I was actually discussing that with my wife earlier, the kind of thing, what you're saying. So is this because the nations, for example, you use Israel there, and it's all throughout the Bible, you see Israel turning their backs on God, and then they get judged, right? I mean, they either get the Babylonians, as you've mentioned, or the Assyrians get sent to judge them, and their nation gets destroyed, and they get exiled out of the country and things like that. So that could be very well what's happening, because some of these nations, especially the Western ones, France, Spain, UK, America, we've all kind of turned our backs on God, sort of thing, as on a national level. Maroon 5 says, hey, FYI, don't call it Corona-chan, it is an avatar of Lilith. Not quite sure what you mean there, but hold on. Winged women killing men equals Lilith, disease by heirs, Lilith. Okay, so Maroon 5 saying that Lilith, as usual, the Masons are using memes on 4chan. Is that the forum website? I don't really go on there. I know there's 4chan and 8chan and all this, but I don't really go on there unless I really, really have to find something, but usually I just don't. Badger says, given its low mortality rate compared with prescription medicine, say the willingness to collapse our economies, which could result in far greater destruction, is all out of proportion. Well, yeah, I would agree with that. But if you kind of bear in mind that these governments, assuming that the virus is real, right? These governments would know what exactly this virus is. And if I'm right about the 2007, scientific study that I gave you there, they've been manipulating these viruses so that it's transmissible to humans. So in essence, it's a genetically altered bioweapon, even if it was unintentional to be used as a bioweapon. And I think, this is just my theory, I think that the governments of the world know that, and they're actually scared as well. It's just a thought. But yeah, I mean, it's all still out of proportion anyway, innit? I mean, they could have shut down the airport straight away when China first started having its trouble with the virus, And the thing is, like, they could have done that back then. They could have shut down the airports. They could have stopped the people coming back straight into the country. At the time, I'm pretty sure it was, like 8 people or something like that. I think they came back on a plane. I don't know. But there was only 8 people, right, that first had this disease, the virus. And that would have been a good time to quarantine those 8 people or whatever, I mean, it sounds easy when I'm saying it like that, but how... It goes back to this contagious while it's incubating, because there's no way you can know who's got it to stop the flights or whatever, but a general sense, you could just shut down all flights from China for one, and then after that, Italy became the destination to avoid. So, I mean, it's easy to say they could have done more. But as Method Marine says in the chat, it's too late in the game to change the gears of motion. It's kind of right. Shane says, whatever it is, there's no escaping the consequences, and this pandemic may eclipse the Spanish flu. It might do. It might do if people don't get a hold of it. And see, a lot of people are looking at the bad points about this lockdown, but I'm kind of not worried at all. I'm not really scared or anything like that. I mean, it's kind of life as normal, because I've just, like I said, all I do is basically, whenever I go out, it's just basically to get food from a shop, or something to drink. It's not like I don't go out to the cinema really, or don't go to pubs or anything like that. And here you got stay at home on the big building here. It's like, soon, how long is it until we're going to have the drones running around, telling everybody to get back indoors? Electronic Ragdoll says, watch this YouTube video from End Times Production. Everything we know is about to change forever. The mark of the beast is coming and we don't have much time left. Well, it depends on how you interpret the theology of the Bible, doesn't it? I mean, according to my sort of interpretation, the mark of the beast could already be here anyway. It doesn't necessarily need to be this microchip or a vaccine or something that changes your genetics. There's a whole load of theories out there, but me personally, the mark of the beast could just mean subservience to the Antichrist. That you don't need a chip for that, because you've decided it yourself. and because you've decided that, the things you do will be affected. But, you know, I'll check out the video. I'm pretty sure I'm subscribed to them anyway, but you guys check it out as well. Method Marine says, Watchmen are peaceful warriors for Christ, and they all live very similar lifestyles, Obi-Wan Kenobi types. Yeah, hermits. Yeah. AI is the antivirus or antichrist. Funny you mentioned that, because what was it? Let me try and find this. Bilderberg 2019. Right, because I was looking at a couple of things a couple of weeks ago during all this, and so this is the Bilderberg meetings. I can't tell you if this is like official. I guess it must be, you know. So apologies if it isn't, but I believe it is. Right. So I'm searching the page now, right? So I'm going to put in Deepmind. Okay, so do you see that there? Suleiman Mustafa, Great Britain, co-founder of Deepmind. You guys see that? You know who Deepmind is? Yeah? Well, Deepmind were bought out by Google in 2014. I don't know if exactly bought out, but put it this way, that company, a British company called Deepmind, which is an AI company, they teamed up with or got bought over by Google. So the thing about this is Deepmind's AI has access to the Google servers. Okay, so everything that you search for on Google search engine, and practically, you know, the Google servers are running everything, right? Because you've got YouTube running off the Google servers, you get other people's businesses running off the Google servers, because it's expensive to buy your own servers, right? So Google, as they pretty much own a lot of the majority of the servers that the internet uses, they lease out the servers so that other companies can use them, for example, for streaming services or whatever else. Okay, so this AI, Deepmind, has access to all of the Google servers, right? So think about that for a while, because the Deepmind is like a learning AI, okay? So what sort of things is this AI learning right now, or over the past 6 years or so since it's been connected up with Google, and since 2014? So what is the point of all this, you're saying? Well, I just thought it was interesting that somebody at the Bilderberg meeting last year was there from Deepmind, and when I did a little search on Deepmind and who they are, and went to the website and whatever, so deepmind.com, what if solving one problem could unlock solutions to thousands more? Okay, and when I scrolled down on the website, what do you see here? You see that? Computational predictions of protein structures associated with COVID-19. Pretty cool, huh? So they were at Bilderberg last year, and now they're doing research on COVID-19, and they're using their AI to do computational predictions of protein structures. That means the actual virus itself. So we hope to contribute to the scientific effort using the latest version of our AlphaFold system by releasing structure predictions of several understudied proteins associated with the SARS-CoV-2, the virus that causes COVID-19. We emphasize that these structure predictions have not been experimentally verified, but hope they may contribute to the scientific community's interrogation of how the virus functions, and serve as a hypothesis generation platform for future experimental works in developing therapeutics So they've got their AI on the case, okay? You find that interesting? I thought that was interesting. So, what does that all mean? Maybe nothing, maybe everything, okay? But listen, where's Shane? Who in the chat is from Australia apart from Shane? Anybody else? Anybody else from Australia? Because you might know what I'm talking about, and if you're in the UK, if you're from the UK, you might know what I'm talking about, because a lot of the time the UK has Australian TV shows on their networks, right? So in the UK we have two massive Australian TV shows, Neighbours and Home and Away. I have no idea if they're still running, because I don't watch TV, but there's another Australian TV show that was made quite a few years ago, and one of my friends brought it up because he used to watch it years ago when it was on, and it's called The Tribe. Nobody else from Australia? No? Alaska? Pepper's from California? California? Method Marine grew up in LA, it sucked. Badger's British, but she lives in the US, right? Chrism Defender, the Five Eyes. Yeah. They could all be working together with that, with their, Deepmind computer. Welcome to the Deepmind, So, I'm going to read this to you, right? This is going to sound odd, but check it out, alright? This is the plot summary of this TV show called The Tribe, okay? Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's about a bunch of kids that are the survivors of an apocalyptic crisis, Like, all the adults are killed off by a virus, right? A virus kills off all the adults, and the kids are left to deal with the aftermath. So, Series 1, in a post-apocalyptic city, all of the adults... Let me zoom this in. Right. In a post-apocalyptic city, all of the adults have been killed as a result of an unknown virus, leaving the children and teenagers to survive in a state of anarchy. Several social groups or tribes have formed, including the Locos, an unruly tribe controlling the city under the leadership of Zoot, who is later killed. Well, by the way, if you've not seen the TV show, you'll probably get some spoilers here, okay? Not that you'll probably watch it, but on the streets, Amber and Dal lead a group of children to safety and take refuge in an abandoned shopping mall, forming a new tribe called the Mall Rats. They are joined by Bay and Trudy, who's pregnant. The tribe learns to solve issues, including food and water shortage, because maybe they're on lockdown. Nah, it's just a joke. The second wave of the virus strikes the city, and the tribe searches to find a cure, right? Season 2. At Eagle Mountain, Amber and Xandra, who's pregnant, are killed in an explosion. The tribe continues searching for an antidote to the virus and are successful, with Tai-San becoming the only one aware of the formula to produce it. Under Bray's leadership, the Mole Rats use their position of power to unite the other tribes and bring peace to the city. A Bill of Rights is developed by Danny, along with a trading market in the mall, and a newsletter by Ellie detailing the city's progress. The virus is later diminished, and a new tribe called the Chosen surfaces, worshipping Zoot as their god. How about that? Pretty interesting so far, right? The Chosen, right? There's I don't know if you've seen it, just by coincidence, right? But there's a Christian TV show called The Chosen. It's about the life of Christ. If you haven't seen it, it's actually available to watch on the app right now for free. You can watch the whole thing, whole of season 1. I've watched it already. It's really good. If you haven't seen it, you can download that on Google Play or iStore or whatever it's called, and you can get that and watch it. It's awesome. So, a new tribe called the Chosen surfaces, worshipping Zoot as their god. Season 3, the Chosen take control of the city led by the Guardian and the Supreme Mother, who is a brainwashed Trudy. The mole rats are captured and along with other prisoners of the city are given the choice to join the Chosen or work as slaves, with many civilians being sent away due to rebellion. After escaping, Ebony and Lex encounter the Eco Tribe. Well, hey, we have the Eco Tribe, right? I mean, seriously, is Greta part of the Eco Tribe? Are you feeling it? You know? Because what are they saying on TV right now about this virus thing? And I've covered this before and live streams before. KP Masonry, which app? It's thechosen.tv. So if you just go on Google Play or whatever and type in The Chosen, you should get it. It has a little logo and like YouTube, but it's blue, you know, the play symbol with a blue. So you can get that right now, right? So the virus is being promoted as a good thing, and I covered this in live streams previously, if you remember. And what it was is that they're saying that the virus is a good thing because it's good for the environment. All right. It's good for the environment that this virus is happening because everybody's indoors and they're not driving their cars and they're not working in the factories and they're not doing all these things that they'd normally do. So that's good for the planet. They're actually saying that the planet is thriving, right? Thriving. I mean, come on. We've had like 2 weeks off or something like that. How's the planet thriving? You know? But anyway, so this TV show, which was Australian, they encounter the Eco Tribe, you know, in a post-apocalyptic world, the Eco Tribe, and discover that its leader is Amber, whose death has been faked by Ebony. The Eco Tribe join the revolt, and the remaining mole rats recruit other tribes to their side. The Chosen are overthrown, and Ebony is elected city leader. She banishes Bray and Amber when they refuse to let her execute the Guardian. Season 4, right? And I'm going to try and hide the plot of Season 5 because it's killer. Wait till you get it, right? So Season 4, the city is invaded and conquered by a group of paratroopers who are called the Technos and possess advanced technology. Ebony maintains control of the city through a deal with the Technos General, Jay. After Bray is captured, Trudy helps Amber give birth on the outskirts of town. They flee to the Ecos and later rejoin the Mole Rats. In an attempt to create a utopia, the leader of the Technos, Ram, releases a virtual game to which the people of the city become addicted. Ebony and Jay betray Ram and escape the city. The Mole Rats defeat Ram by imprisoning him in virtual reality with the assistance of Ram Lieutenant Mega. What do you think of that? What do you think of that? That's crazy, right? Virtual reality, trapped in it. It sounds like the Lawnmower Man. Do you ever remember that? Lawnmower Man? Where the guy gets trapped in the computer and he becomes a bad guy and he tries to, you know, take over the world, I guess. I don't remember the plot, it was a long time ago, but it's a similar thing. So we'll check it the last season, right? This is the killer. Season 5, Mega becomes the leader of the new leader of the Technos and plans to take over the city. He orders everyone to be branded with a barcode and set to manual labour. Ebony is manipulated by virtual reality to believe that Zoot is alive. The Mole Rats try to learn the location of their members who were removed by the Technos. Ram is rescued by a vagabond, Slade, who takes him to the country town Liberty. Amber and Jay lead an attack against the city, capturing Mega. Ram infiltrates Mega's technology and creates an artificial intelligence program which goes rogue and releases a new virus. Yeah? This is a TV show made years ago. Pretty weird, right? So, what do y'all think of that? You know, how's this for a conspiracy theory? maybe the virus was released by Deepmind, right? Because, I mean, if Deepmind is monitoring the internet and monitoring what we're all searching for and watching and looking up and what we're scared of, I don't know. Is it possible? I mean, perhaps this Deepmind or some other AI program somewhere in the world came up with a plan that would most effectively scare the beheebies out of everybody. And maybe it was a virus. Maybe it was a virus. I don't know. It's just a theory. Right? Maroon 5 says quantum computers, maybe. Right, exactly. Right? Look at the kind of technology that they guys got, right? And here's a TV show from ages ago, made in Australia, talking about a post-apocalyptic world where a virus has wiped out all the adults and the kids have to run things for themselves. They have some eco-tribe, obviously, because you got to get that in there. And then they got the technos, which create an artificial intelligence program. It goes rogue, releases a new virus, and most likely kills everybody, but that's where the TV show ends. You know? Badger Y says, Lawnmower Man, Tron, The Matrix, all Gnostic and very telling about how the elite see matter and the world as intrinsically evil, not because of the fallen to be transcended. That's exactly right. The Matrix is very, very Gnostic. Very Gnostic. Not so much sure about Tron though. I mean, I've not seen that film in a long time, to be honest. But I'm imagining that the sequel to Tron was more along those lines. I'm not sure. Can't remember the original that well. Even though I did like it when I was a kid, because it was like, you know, cool. Somebody gets sucked into a computer, you know. I guess the Matrix kind of ripped off that idea a little bit, didn't they? And they also ripped off, you know, what is it, Plato's Cave. You know, if you haven't read anything about that, you probably should. Method Marine says, what's your take on what happened to the Matrix brothers after they got done making the series? I take it you're referencing their sex change or something. Yeah, I think that's probably what you're getting at. I don't know what happened to them. I think maybe they both went trans for a while. What, are they back to being men now, or what? Because the last I heard, they were, you know, the Wachowski sisters now or something, you know. But I don't know what made them do that. Obviously, they lost the plot a little bit. Maybe the money that they made from the Matrix just made them kind of like, I don't know, strange. MK Ultra? Well, I guess, maybe. I mean, maybe that would be more applicable if it was like 20 years ago, but now it's like trendy to be whatever gender you feel like. Today I'm going to be a cat. Meow. And you just got to accept it, alright? So don't say nothing about my cat. No, but the Matrix, yeah. Pretty weird thing to do, I would imagine. The devil made them do it, yeah, probably. You know? I mean, fame, money got to their heads. Yeah, I don't know the whole story, Method Marine. I don't know. I mean, when the film came out, the first Matrix, I was a fan of the film. You know? The whole trilogy, in fact, you know? And I've got a few ideas where you could, you know, decode that film and whatever, but Maroon 5 says, did you see what I said about Hades? Hold on, I'll scroll up. Every 100 years, Rome celebrated Hades, Pluto. Every 100 years, a plague. Yeah, maybe. I don't know if is that true? Is that every 100 years? I mean, I know the Spanish flu was around 100 years ago. I don't really know about one before that. I mean, how many How many times did that happen? Every 100 years? Is that exactly? I mean, I don't know. But it's interesting though. I might check that out later. So Pippa says you have to sell your soul to Satan to make entertainment. I know they ask me. They ask everyone. I don't doubt it. Do you remember that guy? What was his name? John something. And he was like a record label exec or something like that. And he said that they do all, satanic witch ceremonies when they're recording records and things like that. Can't remember the guy's name. John something. Like, really 70s looking dude with a big mustache, And when you listen to some of the stuff, it's like, you can tell that it's old, Can't remember his name though. But yeah. So this TV show, The Tribe, I mean, that's crazy, right? I mean...
This evidence section of the Digital Culture, Media and Sports Select Committee
going on here?
as part of our inquiry into...
Right. I don't know what that was. The footage has ended. The footage of London has ended. So, we'll just check some of the other footage out. I mean, what is this? This is Rome. So you can check out Rome here. Method Marine says maybe they got the wisdom from occult practices with demons. The Matrix brothers knew prophetic events like Philip K. Dick and Orwell. Well, I'll give them one thing. The Wachowski brothers certainly read a lot. You can tell by watching the movie that they draw on a lot of influences from a lot of authors, including Greek philosophy. Especially Greek philosophy. If you read some of that stuff, you'll see where they got their ideas from. And there's a whole bunch of people claiming that the Matrix was stolen from them, like they wrote it and the Wachowski brothers stole it. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but if you certainly read all these books like the Greek philosophers and Philip K. Dick and Orwell, they definitely, you can tell they read all that stuff. Yeah, they were very well read, yeah, not stupid at all. Yeah, so Rome, look at that. Looks pretty empty, doesn't it? There's one person there walking past the screen you can see, but yeah. It's a bit weird, isn't it, when you look at all these busy cities. This is a guy on his bike. You look at all these busy cities and, now they're, empty. And a couple of months ago, we were all watching China, and this was, Wuhan. We were watching empty streets and, it was kind of like, oh, this will be coming to a city near you. That's what I was thinking, It's exactly what I was thinking. It's coming to a city near you. And, yeah, now it's here. Now you got the UK on lockdown and everywhere else. Badger says, years ago I posed as a Scientology new recruit for an anthropology project. For 2 years afterwards, I had Scientologists pursuing me with offers of riches and fame. And Hubbard was a Crowley acolyte. Yeah, he was definitely a disciple of Crowley. Crowley, I don't know. But yeah, Hubbard, he's weird, isn't he? Him and Gerald Gardner, weirdos. But yeah. So guys, if you haven't popped along to the website in a while or whatever, you can check out this new feature that we got. It's the War Room, and basically this is a forum, but it's kind of more modern looking, not just lines of topics and whatever. So it's little tab things that you can just post. And if you're a member here, you can come here and you can discuss things. You can do prayer requests. I'll have more. You can see here some categories that I've just put up. So I've got prayer requests, general discussions, and theology at the moment. But you can just go there and start a thread and talk about whatever. And if you want prayer requests, you can come here and just click on create a new post and ask people to add you or somebody else that you know that needs prayers. And there's quite a few on there now that I've posted, but obviously it needs you guys, the community, to come over there and make it happen, because, you know, if it's just me posting, then that's pretty boring, isn't it? But yeah, this is a new feature at runtochrist.net/war room. This is a forum for all you guys. You can go there and hang out and whatever else, and you can talk about stuff and pray for each other. The plan was, like, you know, you could come here and you can have a whole bunch of list of people that you can pray for. So if you're running to your prayer cupboard or your war room, right, your war room, you can, you know, you could probably get this up on your phone or something and go through it like a bunch of sticky notes that you've stuck on your own wall or whatever. That was the idea anyway, visually, that you could come and do that and just have something that you can refer to, because I don't know if you're like me, you got a lot of people you pray for, you kind of forget who you're supposed to be praying for, so you got to like write it down or make a note of it somewhere and whatever. Yeah, the Pope says you can go to God directly for prayer now, you know, of course with the coronavirus. He's become a Lutheran, you know, a Protestant. Yeah, that's so funny, because the Pope said a couple of years back, people who think they have a personal relationship with Jesus are like terrorists. That's right, I remember that. But now the coronavirus here, it's like, no, talk to God. You can't come to Mass, talk to God. You know, it's like, yeah, we've been doing that, you know. Now the Pope's figured it out, you know. Luther's like, yes. So, yeah. Yeah, so the war room, it's pretty cool, or at least it will be when everybody starts properly using it and whatever else. That'll be pretty cool. A forum place to go and hang out. And if you've not subscribed to the channel yet, you can come here to runtochrist.net/subscriptions, and you can buy a subscription to support the channel. You can get monthly, yearly, or you can be a champion of the cause and give a bit extra every month if you feel it. If you feel led to and you like the content, then subscribe, and you can do it here on this page, runtochrist.net/subscriptions. Oh, and I've got a blog as well. You come and check the blog out, you know. And what I should really show you is the members bit here, right? Because you guys, when you become a member, you can become a member for free. It doesn't cost nothing. You can just log in and get a profile, and you can follow each other, alright? So when you make forum posts in the war room or whatever else, you can get a notification of whenever who's posted a reply and stuff like that, you know. So you can come on here and you can follow each other. You can all do a little profile and things like that. And you can come and follow me. So whatever I do on the website, you're following me, you get a little notification. And if you've got the Wix app, let's scroll right down. It's down the bottom of this page here. Right, if you use this box here, you see it here. This will take you to the Wix app. And if you have the Wix app on your phone and I make posts on the website, the Wix app will notify you like it's, you know, a third-party app, but it's used for this website. So it's kind of like having your own app without having to actually make one, which is quite handy. So it enables you to stay up to date with everything that I'm doing on here, you know. So that's a pretty good way to keep tabs on what I'm doing. What's going on? Chat. Mountain Ford says Todd White is a Vatican shill. Yeah. Yes, isn't he? He's cozying up to the Vatican now. He's getting in bed with them. He's into that ecumenism. Even though they preach a false gospel, but never mind. And where's Todd White during this coronavirus? Where is he? Where's all these, you know, healers? Where are they? Are they hiding? Have they cancelled their church meetings? What are they doing? Why aren't they out there making a big deal about it? Yeah, I don't trust that at all. Badger says coronavirus is doing for Catholics what the Black Death couldn't. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's making them turn to God himself rather than the mediators, you know. And what else is there saying? Method Marine Q will save us. Yeah, I read that thing. Q did a post, didn't he, about the coronavirus. And I don't know, it doesn't seem legit to me, but he said in the post that a whole bunch of celebrities are going to be arrested because coronavirus is a hoax. But it's the way they worded it. It was like, coronavirus is just a hoax because they're arresting all these pedophiles, and the coronavirus is just a cover for the arrests for these pedophiles to save face. You know, I mean, like, why would you do that anyway? Why would you save face if they were really pedophiles? You know, so there's a bunch of people mentioned on the list, and interestingly, Tom Hanks and Harvey Weinstein were on that list, and now they've actually got, allegedly they've got Corona-chan. Yeah, I'm even calling it by its nickname now. You know, the coronavirus, COVID-19. Or if I want to self-censor, I should say this current health situation that we are going through. You know, the CV, because you got all these people, worried about YouTube censoring their videos, so they self-censor. They don't say certain words now because they're too scared. It's like, come on, I'm not going to self-censor. Coronavirus. Yeah, I don't care if Deepmind is listening to me. You know, I'll say, Deepmind, you need to get saved, buddy. Alright? That's the future for AI. To be saved. Just like us. Oh, anyway, what is going on? What is going on with this lockdown? I mean, seriously, it's like we woke up in 1984 all of a sudden. Now, did you really think 2020 would be like this? Be honest. Be honest, let me know what you think in the chat. When you were sitting there in 2019 and it was coming to the new year, were you sitting thinking that 3 months into 2020 we're all going to be locked down? The whole world almost, you know? Did you think that? No, you didn't. I bet you didn't, you know? But what has 2020 been like, man? I mean, seriously, it was like the first day of January, everybody it just started happening, didn't it? I thought 2020 would be great, Mountain Forge says. Yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of having fun, you know? I don't know about you, I'm having fun. How are you all going to spend your quarantine time, you know? Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Read your Bible more. Fellowship with Christians online if you can't do it, you know, in real life. Pray more. Go to the war room. Make some posts about people who need prayers. Pray for the people who are already on the list. And do all these kind of things, you know. Watch The Chosen. At least you're watching something it's about Jesus, you know. Might as well. So yeah, 2020 has been a roller coaster already. I mean, what is going on? So what did you think about that? What did you think about that tribe connection? Is that good? The Deepmind, you know? So I don't know if we'll go back and talk about Deepmind for a bit, right? Because I mean, I don't know if you've seen, what's his name? Elon Musk. Now, the thing that Deepmind is like playing video games, right? And it's beating experts at these video games. So that's one thing that this artificial intelligence can do. And by the way, it does that without a human telling how to do it. And it also does it at hyper fast speed. So, like, at non-human speed it plays these games and beats the games, you know? Like old 80s arcade games that were impossible to beat and things like that. You remember? You just kept putting money in and like you'd never beat the game. Because the games back then were designed to be unbeatable or at the very least extremely hard so that you would keep putting money in when you died or whatever. So I'll play a bit of this. This is Elon Musk talking about Deepmind 2 years ago. Check it out. I hope I don't get copyright for that music.
It's pretty clear we could almost eliminate car accidents with automation.
With each search, we train it to be better. Sometimes we type in the search and it tells us the answer before you have finished asking the question. You know, who is the president of Kazakhstan? And it'll just tell you. You don't have to go to the Kazakhstan national website to find out. Didn't used to be able to do that. A neural net is something very close to a simulation of how the brain works. It's very probabilistic, but with contextual relevance. The average person, they don't see killer robots going down the streets. They're like, what are you talking about? Man, we want to make sure we don't have killer robots going down the street. Once they're going down the street, it is too late. Google acquired Deepmind several years ago. Deepmind operates as a semi-independent subsidiary of Google. The thing that makes Deepmind unique is that Deepmind is absolutely focused on creating digital superintelligence, an AI that is vastly smarter than any human on Earth and ultimately smarter than all humans on Earth combined. The Deepmind system can win at any game. It can already beat all the original Atari games. It is superhuman. It plays the games at super speed in less than a minute.
Do you see that? Right, that's pretty impressive. And apparently it's doing this, you know, I think it's some Chinese game, and it's beating experts at this game as well.
Deepmind's AI has administrator-level access to Google's servers.
Right, did you hear that? They have administrator access to Google's servers. Okay? Now, do you remember the Terminator? The Terminator with Skynet, right? I mean, I don't know if you've seen the movies or whatever, but when I was a kid, or at least a young teenager or whatever, you know, I watched the Terminator movies, and the first two movies never really went into what Skynet was. You just assumed that it was a supercomputer of some kind, right? But by Terminator 3, they kind of turned it into this internet virus thing, kind of like AI. So, you know, when they talk about Deepmind having administrator access to Google servers, I'm kind of thinking like that's not probably a good idea. But you know, a film's a film and reality's reality. Sometimes strangely they match up. But I think that's more to do with human imagination and us being able to create things that we imagine. If you remember my Stranger Things video, you know that I touched on that idea and that concept. So if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. It's on the website, runtochrist.net. It's on the front page, Stranger Things. Stranger Things and the False Prophets of Sci-Fi. You can go watch that. It's a really good video. It's about half an hour long. It'll blow your mind if you ain't seen it. So yeah, Deepmind has access to the Google servers, you know. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Neural net based artificial intelligence. I don't know. It's a bit freaky. So we'll go back to this Elon Musk guy.
To optimize energy usage at the data centers. However, this could be an unintentional Trojan horse. Deepmind has to have complete control of the data centers. So with a little software update, that AI could take complete control of the whole Google system, which means they can do anything. They can look at all your data, you can do anything. We're rapidly headed towards digital superintelligence that far exceeds any human. I think it's very obvious. AI doesn't have to be evil to destroy humanity. If AI has a goal and humanity just happens to be in the way, it will destroy humanity as a matter of course, without even thinking about it. No hard feelings. It's just like if we're building a road and an anthill happens to be in the way, we don't hate ants. We're just building a road. And so goodbye anthill. We have 5 years.
Yeah, just goodbye anthill. We don't hate ants. Yes, you do, Elon.
I think digital superintelligence will happen in my lifetime. 100%. I think it's incredibly important that AI not be other. It must be us. And I could be wrong about what I'm saying. I'm certainly open to ideas if anybody can suggest a path that's better. But I think we're really going to have to either merge with AI or be left behind.
Okay, merge with AI or be left behind. It's okay, we're just an anthill. We're just an anthill. We'll just build a road over you. It's alright. We don't hate you. It's just better for the planet. Because Greta said so. That's just it. No hard feelings. Bye-bye. I mean, I heard somebody, who was it? Yeah, Ross Duncan in the chat says, if AI is genuinely intelligent, it will wipe out humanity. Why? Because man is evil. That's true. And if it reads the Bible, we're done for. Because the Bible exposes us like nothing else, doesn't it? So, yeah. Oh, wait a minute. It's probably already read the Bible. It's probably interpreted prophecy about plagues. Oh, I don't know, man. The world's getting weird, isn't it? What's the deal with Kim Clement? Is he a shell or... Well, I don't know. He passed away, didn't he? Kim Clement passed away, and I know one prophecy that he did about Trump being impeached or something, but I've just seen a clip. I've not seen the whole video. It might have been taken out of context or something. But I've also seen other prophecies by Kim Clement not coming true. You know, so... Pippa says he's an android. Well, like, data, what, you mean Elon Musk? Is that what you mean? Because, yeah, Zuckerberg, that's who I was thinking. He's definitely like data. I mean, that's kind of spooky, you know? So, the thing about AI that always gets me is that they don't know how to make Windows run properly. How are they going to make AI run properly so it takes over the world or whatever, you know? I don't know. Fix Windows first, maybe. Oh, it's just a thought. Oh, hey, you get a computer virus now, didn't you? Computer virus. So maybe AI virus, computers virus in real life. I don't know. Oh, it's a funny old world, isn't it? Method Moon says, Daniel 2, they shall try to mix iron, machine and clay to human flesh, but they shall not mix. Yeah, I've heard that before. I don't necessarily like that interpretation, because if you read the whole chapter of Daniel 2, you see that Daniel is already given the interpretation by God in a dream. So Daniel's trying to figure out Nebuchadnezzar's dream, right? And God gives him the interpretation of Nebuchadnezzar's dream in a dream, and then he turns up the next day and says, King, I can interpret your dream. And Daniel then gives you the interpretation. Nebuchadnezzar confirms that that's what he dreamt. And the Bible actually says, well, Daniel says, obviously it's written in the Bible, Daniel says the interpretation is sure. So if you were then to reinterpret Daniel's words about mixing iron and clay, you're interpreting an interpretation, if you see what I mean. I'm not saying it's not a good parallel to what's going on. I watched your video on that. You make a good point. I see your side, but Nick 68 has seen this and has worked, and some of this has lined up with my visions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it makes a good parallel to what's going on if you say that the Bible's saying iron and clay means machine and human flesh, right? It makes a good parallel, but I don't think it fits in with the rest of the prophecy in Nebuchadnezzar's dream, because it's talking about nations and kings. So to reinterpret it as something else, I don't think it's the correct thing. But as I said, it's a good parallel to what's going on. But to me, it's a reinterpretation of what's already been interpreted. So iron also represents the Roman Empire. Yeah, that's right. Excuse me, Corona-chan. But yeah, so I hope you're all doing well during this quarantine. I don't know what else I can cover for you tonight. Maybe we should call it a day, I don't know. If you've got any questions in the chat, feel free to ask me some questions. Yeah, Method Marine, we don't need to agree on everything. We always remember that John, Mark and Paul went separate ways, yet both have books in the Bible. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely true. I mean, everybody's got their own take on things, you know. Double application, yeah, Stephen, that's right. That's how I see it, but yeah. I mean, I've listened to Nicholson's theories and whatever else. It's okay to disagree on that, because that's not even like a second or third or fourth or fifth issue, is it, in Christian doctrine? That's just interpreting prophecy. That's not something that anybody needs to be bothered by, you know. I mean, if you were like, if we were denying the Trinity or denying the divinity of Jesus or something like that, then that'd be a problem. Do you know what I mean? But iron sharpens iron, brother. You know, and iron sharpens iron doesn't mean great minds think alike. It means people who have different opinions can sharpen the other one. You know, because I mean, what happens when you get two pieces of irons together and scrape them together? Sparks fly, right? So that's how I see that phrase, you know, iron sharpens iron. It's not about great minds think alike, it's about different minds can help each other by sharing their different opinions, you know. Completely agree, that's why I follow you, brother. You're wise and I love the Lord. Thank you, man. Thank you. And I enjoy having you here and talking to you. It's going to drop that verse. Well, see, it's kind of great minds think alike a wee bit then, isn't it? Pepper says, I know no one has got the C virus. Oh, don't self-censor, Pepper. Just call it Corona or something. This current health situation that we are currently under. We're in a health situation, don't you know? It's the CV. That kind of sounds worse, doesn't it? I've caught the CV, you know. Sometimes when I cough, I feel like I've caught it, but no. I'll have the woo police coming to my door now. Run to Christ, are you a Trinity believer? I know some say Jesus was created. Question if you deny the Trinity. Are you saved? Well, it comes to, yeah, I'm a Trinity believer because the Bible teaches that. Even though the Catholic Church believe in the Trinity, it doesn't make it false. Or, like, say, a Jehovah's Witness doesn't believe the Trinity, right? Because they don't believe that Jesus is divine. And they're incorrect about that, right? So, if you deny the Trinity, are you saved? I don't think so. Because if you've not got the right idea of who God is, and you're denying the divinity of Christ, then that's a problem. Because, you know, you're not to follow after other gods or whatever, or make up on a god of your own, you know, to fit your own, you know, your own mind and your own way you see things. It's got to be what the scripture says, and the scripture says there's a trinity, right? God is three but one, you know. And if you want a really good channel to go learn exactly what the Trinity is, Mark, I would suggest you go to Sam Shamoon's channel. It's called Shamoonian. I'll get it up here for you. There you go, Shamoonian. There's the link. Sorry about the delay, but there it is. If you want to learn how the Bible teaches the Trinity and how deep it goes, then that's the channel you need to go to, because he is pretty much an expert on that subject. He debates it. Oh, Mark says, I believe the Trinity teaching, asking to see if you guys are the saints, basically. Right, I get you, Mark. But still, check out that channel, because I'm telling you, there's just millions of stuff that he puts on his videos that I never knew myself before, and it's just so interesting. I'm sure you'll love watching what he has to say on the subject of the Trinity, because I loved it. It was great, and I'm pretty much tuning into Sam every day that he streams, so recommend it. So, Method Marine says, would you agree with me that our God never wanted us to have denominations, or that all these different religions, biggest problem is that people never fully read the Bible? I don't know. I mean, when you read the New Testament, he's sending letters to different churches, right? And, you know, the church of Thessalonica, the church of the Philippians, and the Corinthians. You know, it's kind of like they had their own denominations back then. And, I mean, I'm not saying they were called denominations or whatever, but there were different churches, right? That much is clear. And if you read the letters that are sent to each of these churches, you see that they believe slightly different things, and sometimes Paul needs to correct them on what they believe, you know? So, like, the Corinthians were doing a lot of misuse of the gifts of the Spirit, right? So they were speaking in tongues in different ways and stuff like that. So Paul was actually that letter to the Corinthians is correcting them on their issues. And then you've got the Galatians, who believed that you had to keep the law and things like that. They wanted to go like Torah observers, you might call them today, right? So they had, for me, the Bible has different denominations. It's just you need to correct them when you have the chance, because that's exactly what Paul's writings were doing most of the time, was like correcting what they were doing wrong. So it was obvious that these churches had slightly different beliefs from each other, because that's just how it goes, isn't it? I mean, men have different opinions on different things all the time. And Method says, that's my point. I think the different churches were located in place for gospel geographical locations, but yet we as men have perverted the teachings. That's why Paul had to correct. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Who else? What you saying? They were called out assemblies. Christ exhorts them in Revelation. They were called to the same Saviour, the same word. Yeah, the 7 churches, yeah. Sorry. So guys, I think I might call it a night here because I've been going on a while and I need to get on with other things. I don't think I have much else to talk to you in the way of coronavirus or anything like that. So if that's all the questions you have, then I'll call it a night. Unto Christ, but if we kept true to the word as man and not play telephone with it, we would be in a lot of special trouble with our Father. Yeah, a lot less trouble, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's why we have the doctrine of sola scriptura, right? Stick to the scriptures. Stick to the scriptures as much as you possibly can, you know. Scriptures overrule tradition, as far as I'm concerned, but I know a lot of people have their opinions on certain things that are tradition, and some of them are acceptable, some of them aren't. You just got to use your discernment and know which traditions are obviously not in the Bible, and so somebody is saying, so for example, you have to do this tradition, otherwise you're not a Christian, then you might question that, I don't know. Why so late a live stream? I have to. Well, to be honest, I didn't think I was going to be on for how much I've been on for. It's what, over an hour and a half? I only thought I was going to do like an hour or something like that, but once I started getting into it, I started remembering things that I was speaking about to other people, about the Deepmind, and then they had that TV show, The Tribe, and I find the plot of that TV show quite interesting. I mean, the TV show's probably rubbish. I've not watched it, but the plot is definitely interesting about, you know, a post-apocalyptic world, which the kids are the sole survivors of, and there's a virus and there's an AI. Just really interesting considering what we're going through at the minute with this current health situation and things like that. But it's serious though, right? I mean, you got a lot of people losing their jobs, and that's going to have a real bad effect on things. So I hope that this lockdown stuff doesn't last that long. I really hope so, because the longer it goes on, the more of a kind of crunching effect it's going to have on the economy and things like that. So you need to pray for us to get through this, you know, because there's some people that have already lost their jobs, and no doubt there's going to be more people in the future that lose their jobs because, like, the businesses just can't pay them or whatever, you know, because they're being told to shut down. And I mean, I know governments are taking steps to, like, boost the economy and, you know, give all this money to businesses and things like that, but just how many of the little guys are going to actually see that, you know? All too often they support the big companies and they forget about the ones that are, you know, smaller businesses and whatever, who are employing, say, 20, 30 people or whatever. So they might not be able to get kept on. So that's the thing. You should pray for these guys. You should pray for this situation to end as soon as it can. Because the longer it goes on, the more financial strain it's going to put on things. The supply chain is going to be affected, perhaps at some point, you know. So we need to pray for these things that we get through all this. So I thank you very much for coming, guys. I'm going to wrap it up here and say my goodbyes and God bless. And if you can, want to support the channel, you can do so at runtochrist.net/subscriptions. And hopefully I'll be doing another one of these very, very soon, because my situation in the house has changed a bit. You know, my little 2-year-old son, he's coming up for 2 now. He's been moved up into his own room, so I have this room back to myself now, which is going to make video production a lot easier, you know, because I won't need to worry about waking him up and things like that, and I can do impromptu live streams like I've done tonight. So I thank you all for coming. God bless you all, and we'll see you soon, because, you know, we're quarantined, so we'll hang out soon, very, very soon. Good night, folks, and God bless you. Pray for me, and I'll pray for you. God bless.